Listening test instructions. The listening test is about 50 minutes. There are 6 parts in listening test. You will have about 6 minutes to listen to each passage and answer the questions. The passage will be played once.
Hey, you look concerned. What's on your mind?
The final exam. I'm not fully prepared yet.
Well, don't worry too much. You still have 3 days.
Yeah, but 3 days will fly past in a wink.
Well, you still have time to cram things in your brain anyway.
Question 1. Why is the man looked worried?
You will hear a conversation in 3 sections. You will hear each section only once. After each section, you will hear 2 or 3 questions. You will hear the questions only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to follow up on an issue I've mentioned before. There's been ongoing noise coming from the apartment next to mine, mostly late at night. I tried to ignore it at first, but it's becoming difficult to rest or concentrate.
I'm glad you reached out. Can you tell me a bit more about the noise, what kind it is, and when it usually happens?
It's mostly loud music and people talking loudly, sometimes even after midnight. On weekends, it goes on well past 1 a.m. I work early shifts, so it's really affecting my sleep.
I understand how frustrating that can be. Have you spoken directly to your neighbor about it?
I did once, about 2 weeks ago. They apologized and said they'd keep it down, but the noise started again a few days later. I didn't feel comfortable bringing it up repeatedly.
That's reasonable. We do have quiet hour policies in the building, especially after 10 p.m. I can look into this further. Do you happen to know if the noise is happening on specific days?
It's not every night, but it's frequent enough to be a problem, usually Thursday through Sunday. I've also noticed guests coming and going late at night.
Thank you for explaining. I'll document this complaint and check our records to see if there have been similar reports. We want to make sure everyone feels comfortable in their home. Let me ask a few more questions so I can address this properly.
Question 1. Why does the tenant contact management again? Question 2. I didn't feel comfortable bringing it up repeatedly, mainly shows. Question 3. Why does the manager ask about specific days? You will hear the second section of the conversation shortly.
Sure, go ahead. I just want a solution that actually works this time.
Of course. When the noise happens, is it constant or does it come in bursts?
For example, loud music followed by periods of quiet.
It's usually constant for a few hours. Sometimes it gets louder later in the night, which is the most frustrating part. Even with earplugs, I can still hear the bass through the wall.
That definitely sounds disruptive. Our policy allows us to issue a formal warning if a tenant repeatedly violates noise rules. Since you've already tried resolving it yourself, the next step would be for us to intervene.
I'd appreciate that. I don't want to cause trouble, but I also pay rent and expect a reasonable level of quiet.
Absolutely, and that's a fair expectation. I can start by contacting the neighbor to remind them of the building's noise policy. If the issue continues, we can escalate it to a written notice.
That sounds good, but what if it still doesn't stop? I'm worried this will just be a temporary fix.
If the behavior continues after a formal warning, we can involve building security during late hours or take further administrative action. We also encourage tenants to report incidents as they happen so we have accurate records.
I see. Should I email you each time it happens, or is there a better way?
Email is fine, or you can call the after hours line if it's happening late at night. That helps us respond more quickly.
Question 4. What can be most reasonably inferred about the tenant's previous attempts to handle the noise issue? Question 5. Why does the property manager ask whether the noise is constant or in bursts? Question 6. What does the property manager's final response mainly emphasize?
You will hear the third section of the conversation shortly.
Okay, I didn't realize there was an after hours option. I'll use that next time. How long do you think it will take before I see some improvement?
I'll reach out to your neighbor today, so ideally you should notice a change within the next few days. If not, please let me know immediately so we can move to the next step.
I appreciate you taking this seriously. I was worried it might be brushed off since noise complaints can be subjective.
That's understandable, but consistent late-night noise is something we take seriously. We aim to balance everyone's comfort while enforcing community standards.
That's reassuring. Is there anything else you need from me right now?
If you could send a brief email summarizing the dates and times you've experienced the noise, that would help us keep accurate documentation. It doesn't need to be very detailed.
I can do that today. Hopefully, this will finally resolve the issue.
I hope so too. Thank you for being patient and for communicating clearly. We value responsible tenants like you.
Thank you for listening and for offering clear steps. I feel better knowing there's a process in place.
You're welcome. Please don't hesitate to contact me if the situation continues or if you have any other concerns. We want your living experience here to be a positive one.
I appreciate that. I'll follow up if needed. Have a good day.
You too. We'll be in touch soon.
Question 7. The request for a brief email mainly serves to Question 8. The property manager's tone reflects an attempt to
You will hear a conversation followed by 5 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Good afternoon, Lucas. How are you today?
Hi, Sophie. I'm okay, but I wanted to report something unusual in my apartment.
Oh? What seems to be the problem?
Well, I've noticed a strange odor coming from the ventilation system. It started yesterday evening and it's been persistent. It smells kind of musty, almost like something is burning, but not exactly.
I see. Has it been affecting any particular room more than the others?
Yes, mostly the living room and a kitchen. It's stronger when I turn on the heating system or the air conditioner.
That sounds unusual. Did you notice any smoke or visible damage anywhere in the vents?
No, nothing like that. It's just the smell. I've tried opening the windows, but it doesn't completely go away.
Okay, thanks for explaining. It could be a few things. Sometimes debris or dust in the ducts can create a musty odor when the air starts circulating. Other times, it could be a small electrical issue in the HVAC system.
Do you think it's something serious?
It's hard to say without checking it. I think the best approach is for me to inspect the vents and the system as soon as possible. If needed, we might call a maintenance technician to do a deeper check.
That would be great. I'm a bit worried because my allergies have been acting up lately, and this smell makes it worse.
I completely understand. We'll prioritize this. Can you tell me when you're usually home so we can schedule a time for the inspection?
I'm home after 5 in the evening on weekdays and most of the day on weekends.
Perfect. I can come by tomorrow evening around 6. If I find anything urgent before then, I'll call you immediately.
Thank you, Sophie. I appreciate it.
No problem, Lucas. We'll get this sorted out. In the meantime, try to avoid running the HVAC system for long periods. Maybe just use fans and keep the windows open.
That makes sense. I'll do that. Thanks again for your help.
You're welcome. I'll see you tomorrow evening then.
By the way, Sophie, do you think it could be related to the old air filters? I haven't changed them in a while.
That's a good point, Lucas. Dirty air filters can sometimes cause smells because dust and moisture build up over time. I'll check them during the inspection. If they need replacing, we'll take care of it immediately.
That would be perfect. I was worried it might be something more serious, but it's a relief to know it could be simple like that.
Most issues are minor, but it's always best to check and make sure nothing dangerous is happening. Safety comes first, especially with heating and cooling systems.
I agree. Also, I noticed that the smell gets stronger in the evening. Could that mean anything?
Sometimes the system runs differently at certain times of the day, and airflow changes. Evening use might make the odor more noticeable if the system is heating or cooling more intensely.
That explains it. I feel better knowing that.
Good. We'll get this fixed quickly. Thank you for reporting it, Lucas. It helps us maintain the building properly.
Thank you, Sophie. I feel much better now. I'll see you tomorrow evening.
See you then. Take care, Lucas.
Question 1. Why does Lucas decide to inform Sophie about the situation? Question 2. What condition makes the problem more noticeable? Question 3. What does Sophie's reaction suggest about her approach? Question 4. Why does Sophie suggest limiting system use temporarily? Question 5. How confident is Sophie about the seriousness of the issue?
You will hear a conversation followed by 6 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Good morning, Miss Mitchell. Welcome to Horizon Car Rentals. How can I help you today?
Good morning, Mr. Clark. I have a reservation for a compact SUV, and I wanted to clarify some details about the fuel and return policies before I pick up the car.
Of course, I'd be happy to explain. Let's start with the fuel policy. All our vehicles are provided with a full tank of fuel at the time of pickup. When you return the vehicle, you're required to refill it to the same level. If the tank isn't full, we charge a refueling fee, which is calculated based on the current fuel price plus a small service charge.
I see. So if I forget to refill the tank, the fee could be higher than the local fuel price?
Yes, that's correct. The service charge is added to cover the inconvenience and handling of refueling. We strongly recommend filling the tank at a nearby fuel station before returning the car to avoid any extra charges.
That makes sense. Is there an option to prepay for fuel if I don't want to refill it myself?
Absolutely. We offer a prepaid fuel option. You can pay for a full tank up front, and then you can return the car without worrying about refilling it. This option is convenient for travelers who are pressed for time or prefer not to stop for fuel on the return day.
That's helpful. And what about the return process itself? Can I return the car outside of business hours?
Yes, we provide an after-hours return service. There's a designated drop-off area near our office where you can leave the keys in the car. Please ensure that the fuel level matches your agreement, as any discrepancies will be charged the following business day.
Understood. Do you also check the car for damages at the time of return?
Yes, we perform a quick inspection of the vehicle when you return it. Minor scratches or marks are documented, but major damages may incur additional charges. If you notice any issues during your rental, please report them immediately so we can note them in the system.
Got it. Lastly, if I decide to extend my rental, how does that affect fuel and return?
Extending your rental is easy. The fuel policy remains the same. You need to maintain the agreed fuel level upon final return. You can either refill the tank yourself or use the prepaid option. We recommend informing us at least a few hours before your original return time to ensure availability and avoid late fees.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. This is very clear now. I feel more confident about the pickup and return process.
My pleasure, Miss Mitchell. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to ask. We want your experience to be smooth and convenient.
Question 1. Why does Ethan advise stopping for fuel near the return location? Question 2. Why is prepaid fuel presented as a convenience rather than a discount?
Question 3. What assumption must the renter accept when choosing prepaid fuel? Question 4. Why is early communication encouraged for rental extension? Question 5. Why should issues be reported during the rental period? Question 6. Why does Grace feel reassured by the end?
You will hear a news item once. It is about 1.5 minutes long. Then 5 questions will appear. Choose the best way to complete each statement from the drop-down menu.
In Minneapolis, Minnesota, authorities are warning motorists about the increased risks of driving on icy roads as winter conditions intensify. With temperatures dropping well below freezing, roads across the city and surrounding suburbs have become slippery, prompting officials to urge drivers to exercise extreme caution. According to the Minnesota Department of Transportation, the number of road accidents tends to rise sharply during the winter months, particularly in areas where snowfall is heavy and ice formation is common. Meteorologists in the region have reported that a cold front is moving in from the north, bringing freezing rain and patches of black ice across major highways and residential streets. Black ice is particularly dangerous because it is often invisible to drivers and can form on bridges, overpasses, and shaded stretches of road. Authorities in Minneapolis are advising drivers to reduce their speed, increase following distances, and use winter tires to improve traction. In addition, road maintenance crews are working around the clock to salt and sand major routes, including Interstate 94 and Highway 55, but officials warn that even treated roads can remain hazardous during periods of heavy freezing, especially during early morning and late night hours. Emergency services in Minneapolis have highlighted that many winter accidents are caused by sudden maneuvers, such as sharp braking or abrupt lane changes, which can lead vehicles to skid uncontrollably. Drivers are encouraged to maintain a steady pace and avoid unnecessary travel when roads are icy. Local schools and city councils are also issuing travel advisories, suggesting parents consider remote learning options or delayed start times if roads are deemed particularly dangerous. Insurance companies in Minnesota report that claims related to winter accidents increase significantly at this time of year. Minor collisions, such as fender benders and single-vehicle spinouts, are common, while serious accidents, including multi-vehicle pileups, are more likely during heavy ice events. Experts emphasize the importance of vehicle maintenance, including checking brakes, tire pressure, and windshield wipers, and keeping an emergency kit in the car, which should include blankets, a flashlight, and food supplies in case drivers become stranded. Authorities have also stressed the importance of staying informed about weather conditions. Local Minneapolis news channels, radio broadcasts, and online traffic updates provide real-time information about road closures and hazardous stretches. Drivers are advised to plan their routes in advance and allow extra time for travel. Public transport operators in the city are reviewing schedules and safety protocols to ensure that buses and trains can operate safely despite icy conditions. Motorists are reminded that pedestrian safety is also affected during winter. Sidewalks and pedestrian crossings may be icy, increasing the risk of slips and falls. Crossing guards and city officials are urging pedestrians to wear appropriate footwear and exercise caution, particularly near busy roads. Emergency response teams have noted that accidents involving pedestrians rise during icy conditions, emphasizing that both drivers and walkers must remain vigilant.
You will listen to a 2 minutes video. Then 8 questions appear. Choose the best way to answer each question.
So, we've been talking about this for a while now. If we're serious about starting something on the side, we should probably begin narrowing down the type of business we want.
Absolutely. I still think the customized meal plan app idea has potential. It combines tech, health, and personalization, all trending markets.
True, but the initial development cost might be a bit steep. We'd need a decent developer, maybe even hire a freelancer, and that's before we even think about maintenance or updates.
That's a good point. But if we go with something like a subscription box for local handmade goods, the upfront investment might be lower. Plus, it supports the community.
The box idea is cute, but I worry about inventory and storage. Who's going to handle all that? Also, shipping logistics can get complicated quickly.
What about the tutoring platform we discussed a while ago? We all have some academic strengths. It could start small, just us, and then expand by onboarding other tutors later.
I like that it could start lean. We'd need a simple website, maybe some scheduling integration, but it wouldn't require a warehouse or physical products.
Okay, but from a marketing standpoint, the tutoring space is crowded. We'd need a really clear niche, maybe focus on adult learners or people preparing for certification exams.
That's actually not bad. And since you're the best at social media, Sophie, you could lead outreach and branding.
Sure, I'm happy to handle that. But I don't want to end up doing everything again. Remember the fundraiser project?
Right, and I'll take care of the technical setup. I can work on the website and platform integration.
Then I'll handle finances, budgeting, pricing, and maybe client billing too.
So, are we leaning towards the tutoring platform then?
I think so. It seems the most feasible given our current resources.
Agreed. But let's not rule out the others entirely. We can revisit them if this doesn't gain traction.
Fair enough. Let's each outline what we need to do before the next meeting, say next week.
Sounds good. Let's make this happen.
You will hear a report once. It is about 3 minutes long. Then 6 questions will appear. Choose the best way to answer each question from the drop-down menu.
In many modern workplaces, meetings have become a routine part of daily schedules, often filling calendars from morning to evening. While meetings are intended to support collaboration and decision-making, the talk highlights the growing concern that excessive meetings are reducing overall productivity rather than enhancing it. The viewpoint presented emphasizes that limiting workplace meetings can significantly improve how employees use their time and energy. One key idea discussed is that meetings frequently interrupt focused work. Employees often need long, uninterrupted periods to think deeply, solve problems, or complete complex tasks. When meetings are scheduled too often, especially without clear objectives, they break concentration and force workers to repeatedly switch between tasks. This constant switching not only wastes time, but also lowers the quality of work produced, as individuals struggle to regain focus after each interruption. Another important point relates to the efficiency of meetings themselves. Many meetings are described as poorly planned, lasting longer than necessary, or involving participants who are not directly affected by the topic. In such cases, employees attend out of obligation rather than necessity, contributing little while losing valuable working time. The talk suggests that limiting meetings encourages managers to be more selective, ensuring that only essential discussions take place and that they are well structured with clear outcomes. The viewpoint also connects fewer meetings with increased employee autonomy. When workers are trusted to manage their tasks without constant check-ins, they tend to feel more responsible and motivated. Limiting meetings allows employees to organize their schedules in ways that suit their working styles, whether that involves quiet individual work or small, informal discussions. This flexibility can lead to higher job satisfaction, which is closely linked to improved productivity. Additionally, the talk points out that modern communication tools can often replace meetings altogether. Emails, shared documents, and messaging platforms allow information to be exchanged quickly without requiring everyone to be present at the same time. By relying more on these tools, organizations can reduce unnecessary discussions while still keeping teams informed and aligned. The viewpoint does not suggest eliminating meetings entirely, but stresses the importance of using them intentionally. Meetings are most productive when they are limited, purposeful, and focused on decision-making or problem-solving that truly requires group input. By reducing the number of meetings, workplaces can create an environment where time is respected, focus is protected, and productivity becomes a natural outcome of better work practices.
Visit celpipmocktest.com for authentic Celpip mock tests and see the difference in your performance.